What if I told you the most trusted voice in rodeo, yes, the guy who called the NFR for over 30 years, got into broadcasting because of a random quote. No training, no plan, just a moment. Even crazier, his legendary style wasn't born in a rodeo arena. It was born during a hockey game. Oh, and did I mention this same cowboy once jumped in for Lane Frost? Yes, the Lane Frost, at the 1988 Olympic Stampede Challenge in Calgary. But not to ride broncs, to ride bulls. That cowboy is Butch Knowles, a man who lived the life most cowboys dream of before he ever picked up a mic. So now, the question is, how did a saddle bronc champ with zero broadcast dreams become the voice of the sport for millions? Stick around to find out, because we're just getting started. But in the meantime, like, subscribe, and hit that bell. You're about to find out what makes Butch Knowles one of a kind. Now, let's take it back to where it all started. Butch Knowles was born on May 11, 1955, in Klamath Falls, Oregon, into a family that perfectly represented the American West. His mother was the kind of woman who could handle cattle and horses like it was nothing. Meanwhile, his father had a lumber background, working in Oregon's timber industry. Butch grew up with two older siblings. His brother Brian was the one that first got him hooked on rodeo. The family moved to Redmond when Butch was in second grade, settling in an area between Tumalo and Terrebonne. They lived 20 miles from the nearest large community, which meant these kids had to use their imagination to stay entertained. This isolation actually shaped who Butch became. As he puts it, I wouldn't have traded my upbringing that I had for anything. It made me who I am today. Really. His parents sacrificed constantly. They drove 20, sometimes 25 minutes each day just to get him to and from practice. Football, basketball, baseball. If he wanted to try it, they found a way to support it. No questions asked, no complaints. Just pure sacrifice every single day. During summers, at his family's remote Eastern Oregon Drusy Ranch, he would listen to live radio broadcasts of the Snake River Stampede, and one day, something just ignited inside him. That fire, that dream of being a cowboy, started right there on that ranch with nothing but a radio and his imagination. It became an obsession, Butch said. I loved it. I loved the challenge of writing something that wanted to buck me off, and it just consumed me from then on. Their practice setup was absolutely insane. Since they didn't have an arena or proper bucking chutes, Butch and his buddies would round up about 12 head of cattle and jam them into barn stalls as tightly as possible. And 3 or 4 of them would jump on one cow with whatever rope or bareback rigging they could find. As Butch describes it, it was crazy, but fun. This wasn't just one weekend entertainment. It was the beginning of a legendary life. From calf riding in the Western States Junior Rodeo Association, Butch started entering every single event he could. He was fearless, and by high school, it was clear this wasn't just a phase. Butch was winning everywhere. He won the 1972 Oregon High School All-Around Cowboy title, then came back and did it again in 1973. But that's not even all. In 1973, he won the National High School All-Around title. He won a brand new car as a prize, and winning a car in the 70s was more than hitting a jackpot. While others chased big-name universities and bright lights, Butch chose loyalty over fame. He stayed close to home, right in the Northwest, and signed on with Walla Walla Community College. Why? Because of one man, Tim Cornfield, a former Pendleton great who believed in Butch before the rest of the world caught on. And that choice paid off big time. Butch didn't just show up, he dominated. He was winning in all 3 rough stock events, bareback, saddle bronc, and bull riding. And on top of that, he took home multiple all-around titles in the Northwest region. By 1974, Butch was done playing small. With a truck full of amateur trophies and the kind of confidence you can't fake, he bought his PRCA permit, and he proved he belonged right away. Butch filled his permit quickly after making it to the final round and earning his first paycheck bull riding at 2 famous rodeos, Ellensburg and Pendleton Roundup. His first major win came that same year in saddle bronc riding at Salinas, California. From there, the wins started piling up. While Butch could ride anything, saddle bronc riding became his signature event. He went on to stack wins at rodeo's most legendary stages like Calgary, Ponoka, Salinas, Pendleton, the Cow Palace, Greeley, Red Bluff, Oakdale, Livermore, Caldwell, Calypso, Lewiston. If it was a major rodeo, Butch won there. Like every top cowboy, Butch had one goal burning in his chest: Las Vegas, the National Finals Rodeo, the ultimate proving ground. And he did it not once, but 4 times. He qualified in 1981, 1983, 1986, and 1987. But 1987, that was the year everything clicked. At the NFR, Butch didn't just show up, he rode flawlessly. 10 straight rounds against the rankest broncs in front of the toughest crowd, and not once did he slip. When the dust settled, he walked away with the NFR Saddle Bronc Average title. As you guys know, winning the average at the NFR is a big deal. It means you were the best throughout the entire competition, not just one good ride. That was the peak of his career. In 1988, Butch was selected for the USA Gold gold medal team at the Calgary Olympics. He was there to compete in his event as a saddle bronc rider, but in a moment of pure cowboy loyalty and friendship, he also stepped up to ride bulls for his friend, the legendary Lane Frost. Think about that pressure. The Olympics are already stressful. To compete in your own event and also fill in for a legend like Lane Frost, that takes guts. As some of you already know, Butch wasn't just a bronc rider. He had a real love for bull riding too, and he was good at it. His most unforgettable moment came during a jaw-dropping 94-point ride on Oscar's Velvet, the Christensen Brothers Bull of the Year. It happened in Longview, Washington, and it became the kind of ride people talk about decades later. But then, everything changed, and not in a way anyone saw coming. Butch was still riding, still competing, when out of nowhere, an opportunity came up to do some TV commentary. It was a world he never pictured himself in. Public speaking? Cameras? No thanks. Butch had always been the quiet kid who hated the spotlight unless it was under a rodeo arena's lights. But his good friend and fellow cowboy Lewis Field gave him a quote that changed his life forever. Lewis told him, "Give it a try. You never know what it might lead to." As Lewis predicted, it eventually led to something huge. Butch's first TV job was the 1988 College National Finals Rodeo in Bozeman, where he worked with the legendary Red Steagle. Even then, he was still an active competitor. But that first time in the booth, analyzing the sport he loved from a different angle, sparked something new in him. He credits a big part of that growth to working with PRCA administrator Jack Hannum. Together, they traveled across the country, teaching wrangler judging seminars. Butch handled the riding events while Jack focused on the timed events. Looking back, Butch said it was the best thing that could have ever happened to him. It pushed him to break down every single ride, to study every move in every detail. That deep understanding of the sport, earned through years of analyzing rides and teaching others, planted the seed for something even bigger. And it all came together during one unforgettable moment in 1980, while Butch was at the Tucson Rodeo, traveling with a group of Canadian cowboys who were die-hard hockey fans. Around that time, the U.S. Olympic hockey team was gearing up to face the Soviet Union in what would later be called the Miracle on Ice. Butch didn't know a thing about hockey, but as the Canadians explained the rules, the strategies, and the heart behind the game, something clicked. He was hooked, and then the idea hit him like a bull out of the chute. What if I could do the same for rodeo? What if I could break the sport down for folks watching for the first time without sounding boring or talking down to the seasoned fans? That moment sparked his mission to educate and entertain, to turn casual viewers into true rodeo fans by sharing his love and knowledge of the sport. And for over 33 years, that's exactly what he's been doing on the biggest stage in rodeo. He became the familiar, trusted voice of the NFR telecast and has been featured on 12 different television networks and has covered hundreds of shows. That was how he went from a guy who was terrified to talk in front of a small crowd to a man who calmly talks to millions of people around the world. Butch Knowles' career has been Hall of Fame worthy in two completely different arenas. First as a saddle bronc rider, and now as a notable voice that has shaped how an entire generation experiences the sport. The accolades prove it. He was inducted into the St. Paul Rodeo Hall of Fame in 2019. Then came the Pendleton Roundup and Happy Canyon Hall of Fame in 2021. And most recently, the biggest honor of them all, he was inducted into the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame as part of the class of 2023. When he heard the news, his reaction was pure, humble Butch Knowles. He said, "That's pretty humbling. Holy cow. This is the last thing that I ever thought would happen. It's quite an honor. It's probably not the place that I feel like I should be, but that's exactly where he belongs." He brings a perspective that almost no one else can. He's done it all. He served on the board of directors in high school and college. He produced rodeos, like the very first Farm City Pro Rodeo in Hermington, Oregon. He has seen the sport from every angle. From a young boy on a remote Oregon ranch with a dream sparked by a radio broadcast to a National Finals Rodeo champion, and finally to the legendary voice of the sport itself. Butch Knowles' journey is one for the history books. He is a man who has dedicated his entire life to the Western way of life, and the sport of rodeo is infinitely richer for it. He once said, "We're all just cowboys. Some of us just do different things along the way, but there's nothing better than being a cowboy. It's a great fraternity." Now, what do you think about Butch's incredible journey? Have you heard his voice during NFR broadcast? And what amazes you more, his Olympic performance or his transformation from shy cowboy to broadcasting legend? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel for more videos about rodeo legends, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.